These channels are going to be in the description of all my videos. So please take the time to subscribe to them. You'll learn a lot. There's links. You go to the description of my videos that I've created lately, and there will be links to every one of these channels. Please take the time to sign into YouTube, go to the description, and subscribe to all these channels. Cheryl Adair, she's a lady that I'm going to give a clock away once she reaches 1,000 subscribers. Just Mike, he does a great job at repairing clocks. Torsion Dell, anniversary clocks. You don't have to have anniversary clocks to learn stuff. This guy right here is 15 years old and repairs all of his own clocks. Matthew Reed has 2 channels. You'll learn a lot from his channel. Jody Davis creates and designs and sells cuckoo clocks that are made right here in the United States. Mark Dalton, he got great videos out to include on antique cuckoo quail clocks. Trumpeter man Frank Snyder, he shows clocks that a lot of people would give a lot of money for or give up body parts to own. Scotty's Clock World. What I like most about Scotty's Clock World is the fact that he shows how the J levers and all those stuff on antique American clocks work. And those clocks is clocks that I have trouble with. And there's so many different brands, styles. You can have the same maker who made different styles. One time they would put the J hook here, the next time they put the J hook here. It's confusing as crap. But Scotty's Clock World does a great job explaining how to put them together. Clocks with Seth, his videos are professional. He shows clocks, mainly his dad's clocks, gives you the history on them. He goes to NAWCC meetings and shows you history on not only clocks and watches. Jordan Busby, another young horology. I'm a firm believer in supporting the younger generation. If you don't support the younger generation, the clocks that you love will end up in the trash. So support the younger generation. And this guy right here, David Texador, he's had a YouTube channel for 11 years, and I became his 48th subscriber. He subscribes to my channel and Cheryl's channel and a few other people's channels. Scotty's Clock World, he advertises for Cheryl and Scotty's Clock World in his homepage of YouTube, and a few other people. But please take the time to subscribe. It's free to do so. You don't have to pay a dime to subscribe to anybody's channel. Now, some channels have it to where members only can see certain videos that people who don't pay a membership fee can't see. My channel has always been and will always be free. YouTube sends me hints all the time to make a member only section. I'm not going to do it because I always said my channel will always be free until YouTube changes it. And once YouTube changes it, I will quit posting videos. But please take the time to subscribe. It doesn't matter whether you're on your phone, whether you're on your TV, or whether you're on your computer like myself. If you're on your TV, there's certain ways that you can do it. And I have a video that explains how to do it. You figure it out depending on what you use. I don't know what you use, but please take the time to subscribe to their channels. But you have to sign into YouTube. If you don't have a YouTube account, it is free to create a YouTube account. All you have to have is the email address. And most people have an email address because they have Facebook account. If you don't have an email address, there are free email address accounts that you can go to. I have a Yahoo email account. No, I'm not going to tell you what it is because I never go there. That I created like 25 or 30 years ago. And I never paid a dime to have this free email account. But there are other email accounts. If you have the internet, more than likely you have an email account. You have to be signed into YouTube to subscribe to these channels or to make comments on their videos. So please take the time to do so. And again, I'm making it easy for you. Every channel that you've seen is going to be in the description of my videos. Let me take that back. Every channel that you see from mid-May of 2026 onward is going to be in the description of my videos. Today is January the 8th. I added this guy to this section here. So his channel is in the description of my videos. Please take the time to subscribe. Hey everybody, it's Mark again. And guess what? We have another clock to work on. Now, a lot of people think I'm stupid or crazy or whatever for driving 195 miles each way to go help my friend. Well, my friend is an epileptic, and I could tell when he's having many seizures, and so I go help him out. And I don't charge him anything to help him out. He's a friend of mine. Always have a bed. His wife beats me, but he sends me home with clocks, and so I can't complain about that because he always sends me home with really nice clocks. Well, today we have a clock that we're going to work on. He sent me home with 3 clocks this time around, but I decided to work on this clock. So let's get started. This is the case to the clock, and it has all the trim. It has the topper. He sent me home with a pendulum. It has a regular 3 movement in it, and it's made by Hubert Herr, and which is different because Hubert Herr always, well, not always, but Hubert Herr had their own movements. But I guess they also bought movements off of Regula. So I have a container, so we're going to put the parts in. Bellows need repaired. So the first thing I need to do is take the bellows out, and there's a screw, and then there's a little nail on both sides. the bird is already disconnected from the door, and the door on this clock opens from right to left, where normally they open the other way, so this is reverse. And I need to take the hands off, and Hubert Herr, their movements are always a square hole minute hand with this round collar threaded washer nut. And so if you don't have this nut, I just recently did a video where I say that you put the hour hand on, you put the minute hand on, and then you use compressed washers, and then to keep the minute hand from flopping, and then put the decorative nut on. And that's one way that you can get by. So let me go ahead and take the bellows out. I'll get the movement out, and I'll get back to you. Now, the links per foot on this chain, and I don't know whether it's the right chain or not, is 43, 44 links per foot. And this movement is set up a little bit differently because the strike train is over here on the side, and the time train is here, which is normal, and that's an 8-day movement because we're starting with the great wheel. Great wheel is the first wheel, second wheel, third wheel, fourth wheel is the escapement wheel. But what makes the bird come out of the clock is this lever right here, which is on the time side. And you will see, now I got another video out there discussing this, but there's a wire right here. And what keeps the bird out is this wire is caught by this lever right here. And unfortunately, the spring needs tightened up on this thing, the spring on the bird post lever. But when it stops cuckooing, this wire is released, and the bird is able to come back in. But currently, this movement is extremely dirty, and you can see it continues to cuckoo because it's not set up right. This is the rack stop lever. This is the rack intermediate wheel snail, and this is the lift lock lever. The lift lock lever has a tab right here. When it's done cuckooing, the warning wheel will catch that tab. But like I said, it's currently not set up right because currently the warning pin is missing this tab. So I'm going to take this movement apart, and I'm going to clean it. And when I put it all back together, I will show you what you need to be looking for and I see right now, because this is an 8-day movement, I'm going to have to put a bushing here, because you will see that that pivot goes from side to side. And I might have to put a bushing here, and a bushing here, because that pivot goes from side to side. But right now I'm going to take this thing apart. I have my ultrasonic cleaner set for 35 degrees Celsius, and I have I normally use a homemade cleaning solution, but my friend bought me a professional grade cleaning solution that is made in Springfield, Missouri, and so that's what I'm using. But what changes the color of the movement is chemicals such as bleach, acetone, and heat. Other chemicals also, and heat. So I only put my ultrasonic cleaner on for 35 degrees Celsius, and I'll put this movement in for 5 minutes. Because it has this division patent number, and there's a patent number right here, I'm going to see if I can look this patent number up later. But and this wheel here is moving back and forth. It probably needs a pivot. Sorry, a bushing. So we're going to have to put some bushings in this movement. And I have other videos that tell you how to put bushings in a movement, and so I'm not going to do that on camera, because you can watch those other videos. And I explain, and I've got videos out there that show you how you can use cutting brooches to put bushings in a clock movement. Or I show you how to use KWM reamers. And this wheel should come off. I loosen the screw, but it's not wanting to come off. I'm going to see if I can put my tweezers underneath this thing to get it off. I probably should have removed the lift arms before I did that. Because if you do what I did, sometimes you bend this arbor, but it's off. So make sure you take plenty of pictures, and pictures from all different sides. And as you take a part off, if you take a picture and hold that part in your hand, if you take 100 pictures as you're taking a movement apart, if you work on your last picture and work your way to your first picture, you'll be able to figure out how to put the thing back together. There are tapered pins holding, again, this is a lift lock lever, and this is a rack stop lever. There's tapered pins keeping those things in. So you have to pull them out to get these levers off. You should be able to see that tapered pin. These tapered pins are hard to get to because there's stuff in the way. And I cannot take this gathering cam, the gathering pin, or what I call back pin off. I tried, it don't want to come off. So I got the nuts loose. And by the way, this system, the Verge system, has a clutch system on it. So you can adjust it to put it in beat. So I got the nuts off, and hopefully when I lift this thing straight up, that all the wheels will stay in place. So I can get a picture of what it looks like from straight down. Take the Verge assembly out. This thing hasn't been taken apart in a very long time, and there's stuff there it goes. So that's what it looks like going straight down, and I'm going to take a picture of that, and I'm going to take pictures on the sides. That way I can look at my pictures to put this thing back together. And it's best if you keep the strike side separately from the time side. So I check out my parts here. There's a little bit of rust, but I have a wire here that I'm going to string up all these strike side parts. This one won't come off because that's got the Pac-Man on it. The governor pin won't, well, it'll fit on my wire. And now with the strike side parts bound together, it doesn't matter about the time side parts because they're the parts that are not on that wire. And now I could take these tapered pins out to of the lift lock lever and the rack stop lever. And I would want to put the lift lock lever and the rack stop lever on before I put all the other pieces on. So now it's time to put all these parts in my ultrasonic cleaner. And again, my ultrasonic cleaner is set for 35 degrees Celsius, and I'm going to put them in for 5 minutes at a time and see if I like it and go from there. Now this is a book from the Carl Kochman's. Dr. Lloyd's book shows the exact same thing. I have this stuff on my computer because it's a lot easier for me to get to than flipping through pages. This is a regular 3 movement. It takes 1,500 grams weight to operate this thing. However, if you could get by with 1,200 gram weights, then get by with 1,200 gram weights. This is a regular 3 movement, and this is a regular 3 movement. There's 2 different kinds per this book. Now I got the parts out of the cleaner, and before I work on putting bushings in, I think I'm going to try to clean up at least this part of the plate and that part, because that looks like crap. This side don't look that bad, but this side is what you're going to see looks pretty nasty, and especially that. Even though you don't see that, I'm going to try to clean it up with some Mother's maggot aluminum polish and use my Dremel. And that's what it looks like right now. And this is what it looks like after I'm done. Is it perfect? No. But it's a lot better than what it was. And my name is not Robert Lindsay or the person I call Sir Lucky or Grasshopper. The reason I call him Grasshopper is because when he first started repairing clocks, he was calling me Master. So I started calling him Grasshopper, and he's older than me. From that TV show Kung Fu with David Carradine. But I still have to do this side of the movement. But right now, this rotary tool, I say it's a Dremel, it's not, it's a Genesis. This rotary tool is warm from me doing this side, so I need to let it cool off some. And I tell people all the time to work smarter, not harder. This chain is wrapped around my screwdriver that goes through the hole, and it's not going to come out because the socket is attached to it. I have a great wheel in my drill. I'm attached to this chain. I'm gonna got my scrubby pad here. I'm gonna turn this drill on. As long as I don't get in a hurry, I put the right amount of pressure on it. And I have these chains hooked together. Now I'm gonna show you what it looked like before and after. This is a chain that I still have to do. And this is a chain that I just got through doing. You see the difference? And so, work smarter, not harder. Used to, I would put this chain on the floor, stepping on it, using the scrubby pad, and rubbing it up and down like so, and then grab another piece of chain, rubbing it up and down like so. And because I have back issues, doing that was hard on the back. So this is a lot better than doing what I used to do. And there's going to be those people who are skeptical, who might not believe what I just got through showing them. So I'm going to show you live on camera. Here's the chain. I have to make sure you're seeing it. Here's the chain. Walking over to my screwdriver. I got the chain together. It's attached to my screwdriver. I'm putting my drill on the chain. And again, you have to use a certain amount of pressure or it's going to come off. And my scrubby pad's about worn out. I need to get a different one. You see how hard this is? I'm not doing a darn thing, but standing here pushing a button. I'm not paying attention, but pushing that button. Still the same chain. I'll bring that over to you. Still the same chain. And that's what it looks like now. Big difference. And it didn't take me but a total of 5 minutes, if that, to clean both chains. Hooking them together, putting that screwdriver in that hole, hooking the chain to the screwdriver, putting the ratchet wheel in my drill, turning it all on, and letting the drill do all the work for you. Work smarter, not harder. Okay, you saw what the plate looked like before, and this is a back side again, and this is a front side. It looks a lot better than what it did. And FYI, using my Dremel, put the mother's mag and polish all over this place. Using my Dremel until it was black and melty. And then I just washed it off. And again, if my name was Robert Lindsay, I would sit here with a Q-tip and polish all that stuff up. But I got better things to do with my life. Now, I have another video on this, but if your chain is slipping, this is a click assembly right here, which grabs a hold of those teeth. This ratchet wheel is pressed on, and then there's a wire that goes in here. If your ratchet wheel is slipping, then you have to, more than likely, you have too small of a wire on here, or you got to push this down and put a washer on top and then put a wire on, but it shouldn't have any play in it. That way, your ratchet wheel doesn't slip as the chain drops. And so you want to check this out to make sure it's nice and tight. Now, this is the second wheel. And on this movement, this wheel here is metal. And this wheel here moves this wheel here, which moves this wheel here. And so you will see when I turn it how it works. This wheel, the great wheel, connects to the pinion gear on the second wheel. And then the wheel on the second wheel connects to the pinion gear on the third wheel. And then the wheel on the third wheel connects to the pinion gear on the escapement wheel. Just like that. Except for I don't have the great wheel on, because I want to check these wheels out to see if I need to add bushings. And on this case, when you tilt the wheel, it will touch the plate. So this is going to need a bushing. And this third wheel, I want to check out the tilt on it. And when you tilt it, the wheel itself will touch the minute wheel center arbor. So it needs a bushing. And then the escapement wheel, when I do a tilt test on it, it probably tilts too much. But I'm gonna put the plate on the escapement on the I'm gonna put the plate on. I'm gonna stand by. And you will see that there's some play in the escapement wheel, but there's not a whole lot. And putting a bushing in, you might not. It has plenty of inshake. Inshake is front plate to rear plate, front plate to rear plate. It spins freely. Okay, so I need to do the same thing with the other wheels to see what they look like. The second wheel spins freely. It has plenty of inshake, but when I move the wheel from side to side, that side is good. But when I move it from side to side on this side, there's quite a bit of play in it. Do you see that? That was on the third wheel. And so the second wheel is the one that I told you from the beginning that is going to need a bushing. And so let's put that one in. If I could have gotten what I called Pac-Man off, this would have been a lot easier, but I didn't want to break it. So the second wheel's in. It spins freely. It has plenty of inshake, but when I move it from side to side, I think this was the worst one. You see how much it moves? So that one definitely needs a bushing. Again, if this was a one-day clock, I wouldn't worry about these. One-day clocks are very lenient with bushing wear, but because it's an 8-day clock, they're not very lenient with bushing wear. So I need to put a bushing here. But right now it's time for me to take a break. I hope y'all are enjoying this video. I hope you leave me some comments and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Not only to my channel, but to all the other channels that I mentioned in the beginning of this video. Yeah, I already got the bushings in, but I have to broach out the pivot hole. And so you have to measure the diameter of the pivot, and it's 1.28. So selecting a cutting broach, I don't care if you use reamers or not, you're still going to have to use cutting broaches. And the way this thing is designed, when you measure it, you have to spin it around to get an accurate measurement because it's triangle. And so, and I have a piece of tape on it, so I want to stop. I use high strength Loctite to help keep my bushings in place after I put them there. I use KWM reamers. There's only like 0.3 millimeter difference in the diameter of the finished product of the reamer versus the bushing. So you put the bushing in, and if you're putting an item, a big item, in a smaller hole, something's got to give. It's normally the bushing. It closes up the center hole, so you have to use cutting broaches to open that hole up. And so because these cutting broaches, and I have this in other videos, they are octagon in shape, and so you have to broach the front of the plate and then turn around and broach the other side of the plate, stopping before your tape, testing it, and going from there. And take your time, because you don't want to be doing this again. And I have the second wheel in, and when I give it a spin, it almost stops immediately. It should rotate several times. So, I had a bind on the plate, and that's the reason why. But you have smooth cutting broaches also. You want to make sure that you have end shake after you're done, because if you don't have end shake, that's front plate to rear plate. If you don't have end shake, the clock will not work either. And so, as you can see, there's no longer any play in the pivots. So I'm happy with that. Now it's time to put this movement back together. And you should have taken a picture of it after you took it apart, like I told you to. So, which I did. And even though I've been doing this for a while, I still take pictures. Because you never know when you're going to have a brain fart or just things ain't going right. You just want to refer to your pictures. But I told you before I put those parts in, I have to put the lift lock lever and the rack stop lever on, because it's going to be hard to get to those pins. And you want to make sure that you put the lift lock lever and the rack stop lever in the right spot. This, again, is a rack stop lever. It has to go on top of this lift lock lever, because this lift lock lever is what starts the strike, cuckoo, whatever you want to call it, in the first place. So, let me get some parts together. Stand by. This piece here, which Cheryl Adair says looks like a hurricane symbol, some people call it a shark fin, is called the Maintenance Arbor Lifting Cam. Minute Arbor Lifting Cam. And when it's all together, it goes on here. There's a long one and a short one. The long one is for the hour, and the short one is for the half hour. And that Maintenance Arbor Lifting Cam is what lifts the lift lock lever, which in turn lifts the rack stop lever. You see that? So if I was to put this underneath the lift lock lever, nothing is going to lift it. So this rack stop lever has to be on top of the lift lock lever in order for it to work. And when it's all done striking, this tab, this little bitty tab off the rack stop lever, goes into the gathering cam with gathering pin, and then the third wheel warning pin is going to hit this tab on the lift lock lever. You want to make sure that your governor fan is nice and tight, and I talk about this in other videos. But you see this lever here? This is what you push to trip the cuckoo, but it goes all the way across. You see this pin here? The pin is there for a reason. So we'll talk about it more after I get this thing together. And you should have taken a picture of it after you took it apart, like I told you to. So, which I did. And even though I've been doing this for a while, I still take pictures. Because you never know when you're going to have a brain fart or just things ain't going right. You just want to refer to your pictures. But I told you before I put those parts in, I have to put the lift lock lever and the rack stop lever on, because it's going to be hard to get to those pins. And you will see I'm using rubber bands. I'm not putting the nuts on. I'm using rubber bands to help put pressure on the plates so I can put the pivots and all the levers into all the holes. And oil the pivots to include the verge and crutch assembly. I don't have all the parts on. I'm doing a function test. And the lift lock lever, when I put pressure on the strike system, the lift lock lever, you're going to see that the warning pin hits this tab right here until the lift lock lever, again, which is this lever right here, drops. See, that is preventing it from striking. That's called a warning pin because it goes in warning, and about 5 minutes till when it's supposed to strike. And when the maintenance cam allows the lift lock lever to drop, remember this right here is the maintenance cam, which lifts the lift lock lever to start with, and when it turns, it allows the lift lock lever to drop, and the warning pin is going to be allowed to rotate. And so when it's done striking, the tab of the rack stop lever goes into the little mouth of that gathering cam with gathering pin. And the warning pin doesn't hit anything. With the regular 25 and a regular 34, the warning pin will hit the rack stop lever that has a tab that goes into the cam when it's done striking, but not with this movement. And I told you about the third wheel. It's got a pin on it, this pin right here. And this lever right here, which in the beginning of this video, I told you this is what makes the cuckoo function. So when I trip this, I don't have the rack on or anything like that, but when I rotate this wheel, you're going to see that I'm rotating it the wrong way. You're going to see that it lifts that black lever. Do you see that? And so that is what makes the start of the cuckoo bird come out. Now, putting the bird post on, and you wrap the wire around this little bent piece of wire that's coming out of the movement, and you will see that the bird is currently out if I had a bird on, and it shouldn't be out. But if I was to loosen these screws, you're going to see it snap back. You see that? So in other words, you have to adjust these posts just right in order to get the bird to snap back, along with tightening that wire. And right now I don't have these posts adjusted just right, or that thing would snap back into place. So and it could be just a tiny millimeter off, because right now it's still not doing what it's supposed to do. But with the screws tight, and now when I bring the bird post, and let go, it snaps back. And that's what I want. And so I'm going to show you the function test again. Again, I don't have all the parts on, but I want you to pay attention to this black lever here that lifts off this pin that's on the third wheel. I need to put more parts on so you can see it better, because currently it's not lifting off that third wheel because it's not adjusted right, because it has to be able to be adjusted right, and it very well could be this pin right here needs to be bent forward some. Somehow that black lever got bent toward the rear of the movement. But when I turn this wheel, you will see that black lever is raising, and that is what starts the bird to go outside. Just want to show you as I go. Now I need to put more parts on. Somehow the hammer lever, I don't know whether the last person that worked on this didn't put it together right, but the tab off the hammer lever wasn't able to grab these tabs on this, what's known as an 8-point star wheel, because somebody wrapped the wire wrong. So you got to be able to allow it to drop like that and then wrap the wire in this hole. Which I'm having trouble seeing because the camera's in front of my face. So I'll probably end up doing this off camera. There we go. You want to make sure it has a nice spring to it. And they normally tie it around. Whether I'm going to tie it to itself or not is a different story. Because this copper wire normally breaks real easily. That's got a good gong to it. Low note lever goes next, and then the high note lever. And so, if you watch this thing, I'm going to put it to where one of these pins is almost touching the hammer lever, but not quite, and then I'm going to tighten the screw down. Because if it's touching the lever, the tab on the hammer, when the clock goes in a warning, believe it or not, this wheel rotates just a little bit. And it will gong when it goes in a warning. So, and you want the low note and the high note lever to be in the same area. It's gonna do its thing one time. If I can get it. Hammer. I don't have something positioned right. I really need to put the rest of the parts on the front. So, because right now it's only striking one time because I don't have all the parts on. So stand by. I don't have the clips on yet or not, and this was bent down and I had to bend it up. That way the tab of the rack stop lever actually goes in the tab, and it's still a little bit off. I need to bend it up a little bit more. So now it's seating into the rack, and you will see that when I activate the strike, that this is going to come in and out. Well, this is not now, but let me see if I can get it to do it again. You see it's coming in and out, and that's because this piece catches this wire when it cuckoos, but it's not catching that wire because it's not adjusted right. So I have to adjust it. But now my hands are tired and I'm going to take a break. These are 8-day movements, pushing on these gears. You see my thumbs? Indentations. It's a lot of work. I woke up at 1:30 a.m. Couldn't go back to sleep, so I got up. Have you ever worked on a pocket watch? I've got a couple of videos where I'm halfway servicing a pocket watch. This is Cheryl Adair. I sent her a package for a late Christmas/birthday present. And within this package was what's known as a dollar pocket watch. They cost a little over $3, but they were known as dollar pocket watches. They were made for the poor working person. This watch was made in the 1940s by Ingram, and even though it was halfway running when I sent it to her, it wouldn't stay running. And I told her in one of her last videos where she's working on small alarm clocks that I think that she could easily work on a pocket watch, and she didn't think that she could. here she is. She got the pocket watch all apart, cleaning it and putting it back together. The lady is talented. And with technology today, where you have digital microscopes, they really help people out like myself who can't see that well anymore. If you have a big enough digital microscope, her digital microscope is about as big as my laptop screen here. And so I need to get one like that myself to help me out, because I'm not getting any younger. But if you haven't subscribed to her channel, please do so. I have a video out that says once she reaches 1,000 subscribers and you follow the instructions of that video, then I'm going to put the people who follow the directions and their names in a hat and draw one lucky winner to win a clock of my choice for my own personal collection. And her channel is at the end of all my videos for the past 8, 9, 10 months, a year. Her video is in a link to her video is in the description of this video, along with all the other channels that I mentioned in the beginning of my videos. Please take the time to subscribe to her channel. And if you want to win a clock of my choice, find that video that I did on my channel and follow those instructions. The hardest part about these Regula 3 movements is getting the timing of... Let me get my pointer. Getting the timer of this lever, which holds this wire, and this piece right here, which lifts up that lever, synchronized. Because, as you will see right now, the cuckoo bounces in and out of the door. And that's because this lever isn't catching that wire. If I was to push it over there so it catches that wire, now the cuckoo doesn't bounce in and out of the door. So like I said, the hardest part is finding the sweet spot to where this lever and this wire is adjusted just right. And it could be just a fraction of an inch off, and it does all that. And so, again, right now it bounces in and out of the door because this wire is not going underneath that lip of this lever. And so when sorry, I should have put all the parts together. When I put pressure on the crate wheel, you'll see that this wire isn't going over enough to catch that. You will see right about here it goes the other way. So that means that this lever that pushes on the bird post is not going far enough to catch. Is not going far enough for this lever to drop over. So I need to bend this some, but if I bend it too much, it's going to be interfering with the wheels. So let me try this again. See, right now it's interfering with the grate wheel. So you got to get it away from the grate wheel. And it's still not pushing over enough. So I got to push it, adjust it a little bit more. See, it's almost catching that black lever that catches that wire, but it's not quite there yet. So I got to bend it down just a little bit more. And maybe that will do it. Nope. So I have to bend it some more. And right now it's catching the grate wheel again. Like I said, if you can synchronize that part, the rest is easy. still sorting out the movement, and I think I worked on this clock at my friend's house because he's the one that gave me this clock in the first place. But I have another video explaining how to sort all this stuff out, but I'm still sorting it because it's not quite working properly yet. But I want to go ahead and clean up the case and there's side doors on both sides. So I want to go ahead and clean up the case and get that all sorted out. And I was at Menards yesterday, and I bought both Parker and Bailey's lemon oil polish and some more Howard Beaton wax. And I like using the Parker Bailey's and Old English oil because it's easier for somebody who has... I've got carpal tunnel in both my hands, and right now I have a torn rotator cuff in my left shoulder, and about every 2 years I go to the VA and they give me a cortisol shot in my left shoulder. In the past, whenever I called within 2 or 3 days, I would have an appointment. I called after Christmas, and they can't get me in until like the 9th of February. So I can't lift my left arm that much, or it hurts, and so I don't want to be in a lot of pain cleaning up this case. So that's why I'm going to use this and a paintbrush. Because doing this is a lot easier than Howard Beaton wax and all those other waxes out there. This is simple, and it cleans things up to the point where I'm happy. And as long as I'm happy, that's all that counts. So I'm going to continue cleaning this up, and then I have to attach the trim. I have all that, and we'll get back to you. That looks a lot better than what it did. I even cleaned the inside of the clock to get out any spider webs. I still got to do the roof, but this is what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like afterwards. And so I think it does a decent enough job. Again, before, after. Wood has to have oil in order to look pretty. It gets dry, and you put any kind of oil and it'll look better than what you started with. I like using what I'm using. And you might have to put a couple of coats on. I already put a coat on this door, but you might have to put a couple of coats on because if it's extremely thirsty, it'll soak up that oil. And this is the trim, and this is the topper for this clock. Isn't that beautiful? Nicely carved. Why he'd want to give it away beats me. You might have to get out smaller paintbrushes for the hard-to-reach spots. But pouring this liquid in, you don't have to do a lot of work because the liquid goes where it needs to go. And you can't do that with Howard Beaton wax unless you heat it up and turn it into a liquid. And so this is why I like using the liquid, because it's so much easier to work with. Do you see the difference? I did the left side. I still got to do the right side. You should be able to see the difference. Now, I have the same cloth that I use for all my wood repair laying underneath this thing. So when I squirt this stuff on, it'll get on the cloth, and I could use this cloth to wipe other stuff up. Somebody had repaired this clock, and they did an okay job, but you will see that there's cracks in there. So I'm going to use my super glue and baking soda, and I'm going to fill those cracks in, and then use some furniture scratch markers to blend it in. Now, the super glue and baking soda not only strengthens it, it fills in the cracks and gaps. And then, can you tell it's been damaged? Yes. But it looks a lot better than what it was. And if you are patient enough, and if you want to take your time, there's a guy in the group that he got a clock, and a lot of it was damaged wood parts, and I suggested that he use super glue and baking soda, and he did. And then afterwards he sanded it all down and stained it and you cannot tell where that clock was ever broke. And it was several pieces that were broke. So if you want to take your time to do this, it works. I filled in several pieces to include in the front, and I took my time in the front, and I don't see where I filled it in. Can you? Well, and I bought this because my local hardware store didn't have any furniture markers, so I talked to the owner, and he ordered these things, and it cost me $5.99 for this kit. There's a marker, there's a blend stick, and then there's this plastic level thing here. And this is the topper, and I started to use it because there's some damaged areas here also. But to tell you the truth, the baking soda and super glue would work better because you have to squeeze this in to fill it in. You got to push really hard to fill it in, and the super glue and baking soda works instantly. It's really quick, and this might be great on like a flat surface, but on a surface like this, it would be hard to fill in, such as this section right here and this section right here. This thing was broken in a few places. Okay, it's not absolutely perfect, but it's not noticeable. Using a 3-foot rule, whatever, you get up close and personal. Do you see anything where I fixed? I will point it out to you. Both feet, both here and here, were broke, so I filled them in. The bird itself was broken in two, and somebody glued it back, but there was a gap, and so you don't see that part of the bird anyway because you're looking at this. And I think I'm gonna see if I can find any other toppers like this. I see I missed a part. I gotta fix the tail, but there's a broken piece of wood here that I colored in, and I think that maybe this connected to this. I'm not for sure, but it looks a lot better than what it did. The super glue, baking soda, furniture markers, and of course some oil to shine it up. There's some slight damage on the door. And instead of me using super glue and baking soda, I'm going to try this 3-in-1 repair kit. It says, prior to repairs, determine the color that best matches wood product. Work the blend stick into the damaged area. Remove excess using the level cap. Marker directions. Shake well. So what you do is blend this in. And then use this cap to level it. But it's going to take a lot more product to fill in this gap. And it looks like a pain in the butt. And this is how easy it is to use baking soda and super glue. Find some super glue that works. You pour the super glue into the hole. You grab some baking soda, you put it on, and you blow it off. And then you sand that section off. That popped out really easily because I used that fill stick to fill it in. But it's best if you use layers. I should probably put baking soda in first, and then super glue, and then baking soda. And then you sand it off if you want. And then you color it. It's a lot easier than that fill stick. So that's just my personal observation, so to speak. So once you get this thing figured out, if this piece right here is too far down or too far up, then the rack stop lever will not move, and it will continue to cuckoo as this tab will not go into the gathering cam with gathering pin slot. So you have to loosen the screw to adjust it just right. And so Pay attention to this piece right here. As you can see, it's grabbing the wire, and the cuckoo bounces a little bit, but it doesn't go in and out like it would on a Shots clock or my antique American clock. And when it's done, the cuckoo bird is released and goes back into the door. So one more time. The wire is grabbed, the cuckoo bird would be coming out of the door, and when it's done, it goes back into the door. Now, if it doesn't go back into the door enough, it's because this wire right here is not adjusted right, or this black lever here is not adjusted right. And currently it's not adjusted right, and so I need to bend this wire in some while holding the now it goes into the door quite a ways, but will the wire be grabbed? So now the wire's not being grabbed anymore by that lever because I bent it too much. So now I have to adjust it all over again. I adjusted it. The bird would be inside. The wire is catching. The bird should be outside, but the only way to know for sure is to put this movement in the case to find out. And then the bird goes back inside. Now, I tell you in other videos that after you put bushings in, it's best to let the clock run without the pendulum. That way, the pivots will do what they have to do to the new bushings. And I also told you this is an adjustable crutch assembly. And I showed you that this movement calls for 1,500 gram weights, but I have 1,260 gram weights on it. And I'm going to, this has a clutch type system on this birch and crutch assembly. You push it one way or the other and it will do its thing. And I don't know whether or not this movement is going to work with the weights that I have on it, but I might have to go to 1,500 gram weights. Which I'm probably going to have to. So let me put some 1,500 gram weights on the time side. Right now, I have a grandfather clock weight on it, and it's not ticking. I could push the second wheel, and it will tick, and I'm barely moving this second wheel. Part of my video where I showed you how I did the chains, I had to move it back together. And I went and I got some more scrubby pads, so I had to take this great wheel out. I think I might have bent the second wheel pivot when I took this great wheel out. So I'm going to have to explore that. You have to love clocks to continue putting up with taking the movement apart, putting it back together, taking it apart, putting it back together. You have to love clocks. A lot of people think this is easy, and it is easy if you don't take shortcuts. I took a shortcut, and I just loosened this nut, and I loosened this nut. I should have loosened all 4 nuts to take this great wheel out. My mistake. I'll pay for it. But with all that said, once I take this out to explore it, I'm going to have to readjust everything that I just got through adjusting. That's why they call them cuckoo clocks, because you will go cuckoo working on them. So I took the movement of nuts off, took out the second wheel, and I took a smooth cutting broach to the pivot holes. And now when I turn the great wheel, the escapement wheel is ticking. And so I should be able to put the chain and the weight back on and it works. And there it's working. And I'm going to let that run for a little bit. I still have to do bellow repair. And today is Friday. Today is Friday the 16th of January. And I was video chatting with my friend. And he's having trouble he sold a clock to a lady. It's got a regular 70 movement in it. It's cuckooing sometimes till the weight hits the floor. I told him I'm going to hop in my vehicle. I'm going to go back to his house tomorrow. And the main reason I want to hop in my vehicle and go to his house, he has a very rare clock. It is a spring-driven American Cuckoo Clock Company clock that has an American movement in it. American Cuckoo Clock Company started in 1885. They were German settlers that came to America. They made all the cases here in Philadelphia, in America, and they ordered all their movements from Germany. However, this particular clock, it's a spring-driven cuckoo clock that hangs on the wall, where most of them are shelf-driven cuckoo clocks, and it has an American movement in it. He's got one. Eugene Dorr has got one. And Eugene Dorr, when he got his, he found an NAWCC posting where a guy was asking a question about it. I personally think that the clock was made either during World War I or during World War II. I'm more inclined to say during World War I because there's no records of this clock. They ordered their movements from Germany. During World War I and World War II, we were fighting the Germans, and they couldn't order movements from Germany because we were fighting the Germans. And I still have to play around with this clock because it stopped ticking while I was chatting with y'all. But I told you after you put bushings in a clock that you should put a heavier weight on. That way the pivots and the bushing hole gets used to each other, I guess is a good word. And that's what a lot of the older clock repair people would do, is put a heavier weight on it for the first couple of days to get them used to each other. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a heavier weight on, because right now I have a 1,500 gram weight, and I'm going to put a heavier weight on it to get it used to each other. But anyway, I'm going to go touch this rare clock. So I'll probably finish this clock when I get back from his house. It's Friday, January the 23rd, and I have not worked on a clock since I got back from my friend's house last Sunday. But I think I finally got this thing sorted out. It's very tricky to get this lever here adjusted just right. And when it goes underneath the rack, in most clocks, when it goes underneath the rack, it'll stop cuckooing. But on this particular movement, it'll go underneath the rack, then it'll cuckoo one more time. So this arm right here, which is the tail of the rack, there's a metal tab that touches the rack, you can adjust this up and down to get what it needs. I'll go ahead and put it on my stand. I'll show you. It takes a 1,500 gram weight to operate. But you'll see that this lever is holding the wire until it's done cuckooing. And when that lever holds the wire, that means the bird is going to stay out until that lever lets go of it. But it was fun getting this thing adjusted. I don't know how to explain it, but this lever that's in the back that has a spring on it that controls this lever that holds the wire, if you got it not adjusted right, the rack stop lever can't go down into the rack. And if you got it adjusted the wrong way, this won't grab a hold of the wire. So you just have to sit here and play with it until you get it adjusted right. Time to put this movement back into the case. Now, the minute hand for this clock is broke. And the hour hand, I think, it's way too long. In my opinion, it shouldn't go in the middle of the numbers. So I've selected an hour hand that is gonna be smaller, but I have to make this hole bigger. And what you do is you take a file, and here I have a square file that's tapered. You stick it in this hole, and you carefully ream it out and test it as you're doing this. And you want to be careful because it is plastic and you will break it. So ream it out, test it, ream it out, test it until it fits on. And if you ream it out too much, you can take some super glue and glue the inside. That way it'll tighten up. But it's best that you ream it out and test it. And I have to do the same thing to the minute hand, which has got a square hole. And so I will be taking this tapered square file and doing the same thing. And so I'll be back when I get the hands on. And I got the hour hand on, and this is the new hand, and this is the old hand. You see the difference? There's a half-inch difference. And this is what is left of the minute hand. So you can use this as a guideline to ream out your new hand. And that's how far I have to go. So it's going to take me a little bit. And if you had to, if you wanted to, because you have the old minute hand piece, you can actually glue it to this, and that will work. But you'd want to make sure that you glue it in the right spot. It just tripped right there, so I would glue it right there. That way the hand is on the 12 or the 6 when it strikes. But I have the old piece right here. This is how far I have to go. And so what I do, because it's hard to file straight down into the hole. So I will file like to the left. Let me get this off. I will put my file to the left one time, and then to the right the next time, and then up at the top the next time, then down at the bottom the next time. That way you're maintaining the square hole. But I've almost got it to where it needs to be. So I will take this off and I will file and test, file and test. And there I have it. And it took me 3 or 4 minutes, if that. Again, you need a square, tapered file to do stuff like that. There are some movements that Regula did that they didn't do a very good job, in my opinion. Even though this is not as bad as a regular 70 and 72 movement, it's still a hard movement to deal with. The weights have to be 1,500 gram weights, if not a little bit more. I might have a little bit of bushing wear in this movement on the strike side, but so far I'm calling it quits on this clock. I hope y'all liked the video. Cleaned up pretty nice for a clock that was given to me. Please give me a thumbs up, leave me some comments. Subscribe not only to my channel, but to all the other channels that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. And again, if Sarah Adair, by the time this video comes out, I'm giving a clock away once she reaches 1,000 subscribers on her YouTube channel. By the time this video comes out, you need to subscribe to her channel, follow instructions in a video that I titled How to Win a Clock. I hope that she has 1,000 subscribers by the time this video comes out. May God bless each and every one of you.